Hey everybody, hope you're having a fabulous day. Anna Sabramowitz here. Okay, it's Friday, woo! Excitement. Okay, first I need to make sure I invite everybody. As you know, I'm always making sure everybody is invited. Here we go. Cool, all right. Done. Shared. All right, you probably got like a little bit of that face for a little bit. Anyways, okay, thank you so much for joining me today. This question comes from the community and it's actually pretty fantastic, and I wanted to answer it very kind of freestyle it for you. I included these clip and reveals for you to make it more dramatic, but also if you have any questions after this, please post them in the comments because I absolutely love hearing from you and love answering your questions. So this question came from Elena actually and other people in the community a little while back, and I didn't get a chance to get to it. I want to get to it now. The question is, how do you steer your clients, whether you're working at an organization or whether you're actually let's say an outside consultant or freelancer, how do you get a client to move from a content dump type of mindset? How do you get them to transition to more active learning, right? How do you do that? And I've got some tips for you here, and I'm going to tell you, these are the things that I've worked with, I've struggled through, and I'm going to share a couple of stories about how I, how I messed this up. And hopefully what happens is, as a result of my learnings and my mess ups, you have a smoother ride, okay? So one of the things I want you to consider, imagine this story. Let's say you're in the market for like a Gucci purse, right? This is my Gucci purse. All right. For those of you listening, it's a drawing of a Gucci purse, which sucks because I haven't even looked at what a Gucci purse looks like. Anyways, this is what I'm thinking. So one of the things that happens, let's say you walk into a Gucci store and you're like, I'm looking for a Gucci purse, right? Or you walk into a store and you don't even know what it is, but it happens to be a place that sells Gucci purses. You walk in, you see this, and then you go to the person, you go, okay, but I'm looking for a coat. And the person be like, well, I'm sorry, but what we have is purses. These are the purses that we make. Maybe some shoes, but maybe just purses, no coats. Sorry, we don't make any coats, right? And then that person would be like, okay, well, maybe you can recommend some places that sell coats. And they're like, yeah, sure. Like across the street, there's a coat place, but we sell purses. Here you go. This is what these are for. Now, that's the difference between a lot of the times that I've done projects when I first started out and how I do things now. So what will happen to a lot of us is we'll actually get onto, we'll get a customer who comes into our store, our virtual store, and we'll have product. And they'll say, but I want a coat. And you know what we'll do, right? We will start trying to figure out how we can get them a coat, even though that's not our specialty, even though we don't really know exactly how to do that. We're going to go online, learn how to make a coat, and then deliver them a coat. And for some people that actually works. However, if you have 50 different customers walking into your store and each of them wants a different kind of thing, like the next person wants a hamburger, what you're doing is you're going to go, oh, okay, yeah, okay, we'll get you a hamburger. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to go in the back and try and figure out how to make you a hamburger. So that's kind of how it's working right now. If you are basically having customers or people come into your department and you're saying, whatever you want, we will satisfy your need. And I want you to think about the fact that that might work for a little while, but if you have 50 different people with 50 different requests, you never actually get really good at anything. And what happens is the quality of the products you deliver, I'm sorry, they're going to suck because you're trying to reinvent the wheel every single time you try and figure out how to make a hamburger, right? It's not your core offering. It's not your core mastery. It's not your core craft. It's like if you walked into a watchmaker and you said, I want shoes, he'd be like, I'm sorry, that's no, love to help you, but I'm a watchmaker, right? So you got to figure out what it is that you at the core offer, and then start leading with that. And what will happen is eventually, as you start offering those things and becoming an expert in that thing, and people get to know you as the people who do that thing so well, those kinds of people who are looking for those kinds of solutions, or people who are looking for a certain kind of outcome, will start now seeking you out. So now nobody wanders into like a Gucci store and goes, whoa, I think I need a coat. No, what happens is they wander into a Gucci store and they want a purse because they've heard those are the purses that fancy people have, and status people who want status will have. And so, or they see a celebrity and they're like, I want the same thing. So what happens is they start entering that space already with the expectation of the product that you're going to offer. So that's why it's very challenging for us when we keep on offering, basically saying whoever comes in, whatever they request, will say, yeah, okay, I'll get that for you. That's not the way we got to start working. And I know that's difficult when you've already set a precedent, or where you gotta make the money, you gotta take the contracts. So here are some other strategies for you, okay? So you gotta start, and this is where a lot of people mess up. And guys, when I say a lot of people, I mean me. So what would happen is, instead of leading with trying to figure out what the problem is and then showing them how each of my products would solve a specific problem, what I would do is I would say, here's all the stuff I got. What do you want? It was like, do you want to buy a watch? And I have all of them, right? So what happens as a result is that instead of leading with our expertise and leading with the problems that we're trying to solve, what happens is we end up leading with the whizzy bang stuff. We end up leading with the eye candy. And one of the things that I suffered through, I would send clients these big decks of awesomeness that I could produce, right? These big visual inventories of things I could produce. This is the challenge. I know that world. I can look at an interaction and know exactly what kind of purpose it serves. My client has no clue. And so I would be sending these basically complex visual designs and asking these people who had no idea what I was doing to actually give me an indication of what they would like. And it's funny because I've gotten comments saying the subject matter expert is my customer, therefore what I should be doing is listening to them, because a lot of times they won't know what they want until they see it. Now that's total BS. They don't know what they want, period, because they're not learning experts. And the other thing is that I don't know what they've seen. They may have seen some sort of click and reveal for like the past decade. That might have been the last experience they had. Maybe they went through some terrible ethics training and they had to click next for 50 times in a 30-minute span to make the timeline. And they think that's e-learning. And so they're going to say, yeah, that's what I want. No, they're not the designer. They're not the learning expert. You are. So when that happens, you have to become the person who says, what is it that we're trying to solve? And here are some solutions that we can offer you based on the problem you are trying to solve. So we don't focus on active learning. We don't focus on interactivity. What we focus on is, what do you want to achieve? Rarely does a client say, what I want to achieve is reading. What I want to achieve is for somebody's index finger to get stronger at clicking. No, they were trying to solve a problem. Is it retention? Is it sales? Is it compliance with protocols? What is it, right? Figure that out. And that will lead you to a recommendation, right? So, and that's this design. Here's the thing. We collaborate way too much and distract our clients too much with design. Do not do this. So, here's a story. Henry Ford, guy who designed the car, right? Ford Model T, goes out and says, and everybody's driving buggies, right? Buggy, horses and carriages. And he goes, okay, what do we do to design a faster buggy? And everybody's like, well, the way to do that would be to actually breed a horse that's faster. That's how we could do it. And a horse that's faster, that eats less and poops less. Can we do that? So what happens is people only lead with what they know, right? They're not creative. They don't know what they want. If you told somebody 15 years ago, what kind of phone would you like? They would have made that assumption based on things that they saw around them. They wouldn't pick an iPhone. They wouldn't come up with it. That's for us to come up with those designs and inventions and creativity, because we live in that world. Our clients will only ask based on what they already know. Therefore, do not lead with design, because a lot of them have not seen good design. A lot of them are not designers, they were experts. What they want is results, business results. That's why that's so heavy when I talk to my students. We focus on the business results because those are the things that people ask for. Nobody would have asked for a car, and if Henry Ford would have said, I'm looking for everybody else to tell me what they want based on what they already know, a car would have never been invented, right? So you have to look at what your customer is experiencing, what problem they're experiencing, and then say, I have this toolbox back here. And based on what they say, if they say, you know what, I'm looking to hang a picture. Hold on, I'm going to get back in my thing, give you a drill. I'm not going to lead with the drill and say, which drill do you want? And they're going to say, I don't know which one. I want the pink one. No, who cares, right? You want to say, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? And then lead backwards. Do not lead with active learning, and don't even mention it. There's no need. If you want to try to solve a problem, active learning and engaging scenarios and storytelling are probably going to be in the mix, but that's like insider language that we don't need to lead with. So we're always trying to find out, what are you trying to achieve? And through that listening and actually figuring out what the problem is, you actually look more credible because you're leading with trying to understand the problem. And by people figuring out that you're trying to listen to them and actually solve a problem, a real problem they're trying to solve, then your solutions sound more credible because they're actually coming from a place of reflection. All right? So another one. So don't distract your clients with design when you're trying to scope a project, when you're trying to first figure out what's going on. Focus on the problem. All right? And that's one of the things this is another thing that I think we're not doing enough. And I started doing this, and this helped a lot. All right. So one of the things that you realize, like I'll talk to clients, and they'll be like, hey, what can we do? And I'll be like, yeah, just, I used to be like, yeah, we could do like a interactive scenario module. What do you think? And I would realize that most people had no clue what I was talking about. I would send them stuff and they'd be like, whoa, I'm completely overwhelmed. How do we make this happen? I don't even know what I'm looking at here, right? And also the other thing is that if you have a project that doesn't really relate to this specific context, people can't actually see how it applies to their context. It's very challenging, very, very challenging. You guys, we live in our own world, right? So one of the things you can do is start, instead of showcasing, like sending people all these like slides about all the awesomeness you can create, what you can start doing is saying, here's other people that I've solved problems for, and very well. So this company, this client had this problem, this is what they wanted to achieve. And by implementing this solution, this is what they were able to achieve. Now, is there a problem in here that you're finding that kind of resonates? Or tell me what your problem is, and I can probably align it to something that'll produce the same results, produce success, right? So what you're trying to do is figure out what their problem is, and also compile your problems so you can share them with your future customers and say, hey, here's what we did for this customer. This is the results they had. This is the feedback they gave us. They enjoyed this process. They enjoyed this solution. This worked for them. Maybe it can work for you. And you guys, I gotta tell you, none of this is super easy. Like if you're already in a certain mindset, for you to be able to start just dictating what kind of projects you're getting and all those things, it's not gonna be easy. You are gonna have to, say no to some things because not everybody's gonna want a Gucci purse, right? That's just the reality. Like when I was talking to the co-founder of Allen Interactions, which is a huge organization that develops simulations, learning for like the top, the Fortune 500 companies. He told me, he's like, there will be clients that come to us and they want something that's simply not in our ethos, that we don't design. Maybe they want just a page turner, but we're all over the things that are context heavy. They're memorable and there's a challenge, all those things. And if that client says we want something else and it doesn't fit, they'll just say, you know what, here, that's cool. We don't do that. That's not the stuff we got in our backpack in our store. Here's some other people that could help you. So even they turn away customers, because what happens is the better you get at delivering these three things, the better you get at showing people, tying their problem and then recommending a solution that gets better. The more you get to do these things, you refine your skill set, the better you are at leveraging that, right? So definitely you want to start pushing back and then refining and finding out where exactly you add the most value, which projects are you really a rock star at, and start doubling down on those projects when it fits, right? So, is there anything else that no. So if you have any questions, guess what? There's a comment box underneath. I'd love to hear from you. Let me know what you're struggling with, what kind of, when you pitch a project and you're talking to a customer or you're talking to a client or you're, are you putting together a product proposal, whatever, what are some objections that are coming back? What are some things that people are saying to you that make you say, oh, I can't pitch this interactive scenario project, or I can't move them from content dumps to, to something more active and engaging because they tell me like they're dictating these terms. So tell me what those statements are. Tell me what's happening so that I can give more thought to it and give you more ideas about how to address those challenges, because guess what? They're going to come up. And especially, listen, if you're somebody who's working in an organization and let's say all we do is content dumps, right? Well, in order for us to affect change in those spaces, so I used to do this. I'd come in and I'd be like, yeah, look at these guys. Look, they're doing amazing stuff. We should do it this way. And when you come in and you're trying to affect change, one, people are going to be skeptical. They're like, yeah, that's okay. We've tried it before. Other people have done this. Yeah, we've had new people who are excited with ideas, but it doesn't work at our company, right? You're fighting this. This is a constant in the universe. And one of the things you have to realize is that when you hit that resistance, one of the things you're hitting is ego, right? You're hitting other people's egos. So when I came in, I remember having this, I had some ideas and I wanted to implement them. And one of the ideas was to redesign the training that we were already having for software training at one of the companies I was working at. And I realized that the person I was pitching this to and telling them that this passive page turner stuff was all wrong was like the person who instigated the project in the first place years ago. So basically if they said, yeah, go for it, they would have in essence had to admit that they were wrong, which most people don't want to do, right? So when you're coming into those situations, you have to realize that a lot of it is investment, or a lot of it is invested already in the decisions that have been made. And if you come in with your new ideas, you're fighting that resistance to change, which is ever present, and also other people's kind of like how they feel about their little baby, their little baby projects. So one of the strategies you could do, and I realize it works better, and it's something that actually changes things from the inside instead of like on top pushing it. Start finding people in your organizations who are aligned with you. Start finding people who really resonate with those kinds of projects. There's always one or two people in every organizations that are kind of like the influencers, the movers and shakers, who are actually able to like get you in the right circles or put in a good word for you. The other thing you have to realize is if you start sharing great ideas, right? And not without being pushy, but kind of drop these little seeds of innovation, drop these little pieces. What happens is people start they'll forget that you were the one who, maybe introduced them. But what happens is they start believing that those are their ideas. And if they're their ideas and you're asking for their input and feedback, then what happens is you get more of a buy-in instead of going, you're wrong, I'm right, I'm new, I've got the new cool ideas, please, move over because the new wave is here. That's not going to work, right? You got to negotiate with that. But one of the things you want to do is get those people on board, because obviously they're interested. They want to do a good job. They just don't want to look like they made the bad decision and a bad investment, and now you're coming in and poo-pooing on it, right? So you want to say, hey, remember that thing I shared with you? I want to get your ideas on this because I'm thinking, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think that's something that maybe we could, maybe part of it consider? Did you enjoy that experience? So you got to let it percolate, right? Change doesn't happen overnight, but getting people involved in those decisions, getting their input, you'd be surprised what kind of magic can actually happen when you do that. So I hope that was helpful. Please share your questions. Share this if you found it useful. Share it if there's somebody out there who you know needs this kind of pep talk. All right? So I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and I will talk to you very, very soon, friends. Hi. Bye.